hard-headed Senator Cramer.
I haven't recovered fully, but thank you. And thank you, Mr. Colby, for being here. To your family, congratulations. Thank you for stepping in the gap again. And by the way, just to prove that I get along well with my Democratic friends, I agree with Senator Kelly and his point about NGAD. I think it needs to be a high priority. Air dominance needs to be a high priority for our Air Force. However, I also sense and understand your frustration, although I must say you've done marvelously in answering their attempts to get you to say something that may upset the delicate balance right now going on between the various players in this hopefully negotiation to peace in Ukraine. You're so much younger than me, but at least you are a student of history. Ronald Reagan was the first president I was able to vote for. And I believe he referred to communism in very negative terms, and in fact called the Soviet Union an evil empire. I also sort of recall that he once referred to Mikhail Gorbachev as his friend. It must be easier to negotiate with a friend than it is with an evil empire. Just a point I'm trying to make historically, granted not every situation is the same, these are not identical, the human beings in this matter are not the same, but I think the process is similar. And so I applaud your diplomacy in this room today. Speaking of age, literally the year I was born, the first intercontinental ballistic missile was invented, and 2 years later the first one was installed at Minot, North Dakota, the Minuteman I. The Minuteman III came along after some time, and of course we also have 70-year-old B-52 bombers. Both of those vehicles, of course, carry nuclear warheads, and Minot Air Force Base contains and protects the large majority of nuclear material in our arsenal. So I've literally watched nuclear deterrence work up close and personal, and have very much appreciated in my career in Congress and the United States Senate, getting to know not just the processes, not just the systems, the very old systems, every bit as old as I am, but also the airmen that protect them, that fly them, that operate them, really rather remarkable. I want to drill down with that a little bit with what you were visiting with, of course, Senator Fisher about, and maybe even get even more specific in that sense that particularly the land-based deterrent, the Sentinel, has had some challenges. We don't do this very often, obviously, like every 60 or 70 years. And so we find ourselves in a crunch financially with regard to Sentinel. Will you commit, I mean, just commit today that you will advise the President and Congress, but especially the President, that we really do need to have that deterrence that has worked so well for so long that not a single ICBM with a nuclear warhead has had to be fired?
Yes, Senator, thanks very much. And I do commit to advising the support for the ICBM and the Triad and the land-based leg and the Sentinel program as well. Obviously, there are concerns about the health of the program, so that would, if confirmed, that would be a priority, working alongside ANS and the Secretary of the Air Force to try to get that thing back on track. But certainly, you have my commitment.
As long as we're on the issue of the Air Force, many administrations, recent administrations, have been shedding, it seems, the responsibility of the Air Force to provide good ISR, airborne ISR. Lately, of course, the advent of a Space Force, which I strongly support, has provided another layer of ISR. However, airborne ISR remains, in my view, very important. COCOMs tell us all the time how important it is, and yet we're seeing what I believe is an escalation of shedding ISR by the United States Air Force, particularly modern ISR. I would just ask what your level of commitment is to providing. First of all, you're important. How important you feel ISR, airborne ISR, is to the Air Force and to the COCOMs, and your level of commitment to overseeing.
Well, thanks, Senator. Thanks very much. Thanks, Senator. Thanks very much. And as we discussed in your office, Senator, I think that airborne ISR is very important, especially for its own reasons, but also because we cannot solely rely on the space-based layer. I would also just say, Senator, if I could, and it's really nice to see you, and I hope your recovery goes very well. Thank you for being here today. I believe President Reagan, when he went to Moscow and he was asked about the evil empire during the period when he was engaging with President Gorbachev, and he kind of demurred. He said, this isn't, he said something like, well, I wouldn't put it that way at this time. So I think that shows actually President Reagan is a great example of having a clear moral, vision, but also understanding that there's a place and time for everything and being able to move and adapt to take advantage of new circumstances.